Welcome to Whispers in the Dark, where every shadow hides a secret, and every tale leaves a scar. Here, we unravel the forgotten, the cursed, and the damned. Dim the lights, lock the doors, and whatever you do, don't listen too closely, because some stories don't like being told.
I work at a gas station. It's small, lonely, and just far enough from town that the roads are more shadows than streetlights at night. I took the night shift because it was supposed to be quiet, easy. Just me, the hum of the refrigerators, and the occasional customer needing gas or cigarettes. But this place, it's wrong. From the outside, the gas go looks ordinary, flickering neon sign, cracked pavement, and shelves of overpriced snacks. But the longer you're here, the more you realize there's something living in the walls. Something watching. It started my first week. I was restocking the soda fridge when I heard it, a faint whisper, just behind me. "Jenna." It was so soft, I thought maybe it was the wind slipping through the front door. But the door was closed. Locked. And when I turned, the aisle was empty. I told myself it was nothing. I've never been the kind of person to believe in ghost stories. But every night since then, the feeling has gotten stronger. It's like the air changes when the clock strikes midnight, thicker, heavier. The shadows seem to move when I'm not looking. And then there's the room. In the back of the store, there's a metal door that's always been locked. At least, it's supposed to be. A couple of nights ago, I noticed it hanging open just a crack. I should have left it alone. I knew I should have. But something in me needed to look. When I opened it, I found a narrow hallway I've never seen before. The walls were covered in peeling wallpaper, and the air was cold, colder than the walk-in freezer. At the end of the hallway was a small room filled with dusty old gas station memorabilia, faded posters, broken signs, an ancient cash register. But the thing that stood out was the mirror. It was tall, cracked at the edges, and for some reason, it pulled at me. My reflection was there, but the room in the mirror wasn't the one I was standing in. In the reflection, everything was warm, glowing, safe. I could almost feel the heat of it. Then the voice came again. Louder. "Jenna, come closer." It didn't sound like a stranger anymore. It sounded like someone I trusted. Like it knew me. Like it had always known me. I stepped forward before I even realized what I was doing. But just then, the front door chime rang. Someone had walked into the gas station. I snapped out of it, turned, and ran back down the hallway. The door slammed shut behind me, and no matter how hard I tried to open it again, it wouldn't budge. That was 3 nights ago. Since then, the whispers haven't stopped. Sometimes they're behind the cooler. Sometimes they're in the aisles. Sometimes they come from right over my shoulder. The strange thing is, they're not always scary anymore. Some nights, they're comforting. I'm trying not to fall for it. I'm trying to stay behind the counter, keep my head down, and ignore that door. But last night, the voice said something new. It said, "You don't have to leave. You can stay with us forever." And for just a moment, I wanted to say yes. It's been 4 nights since I first saw the mirror. 4 nights of whispers that won't stop. I've tried everything to drown them out: headphones, music, even leaving the TV on in the break room. It doesn't matter. The voice slips through like it's inside my head. Last night, it didn't even bother calling my name. It just said, "Come home." I didn't want to admit it, but I think it's right. The gas station doesn't feel like a workplace anymore. It feels like I'm a guest here, like this place belongs to something else, and I'm just waiting for it to claim me. Midnight came, and I found myself staring at that back door. It was open again, just enough for me to see the edge of the hallway. I told myself I wouldn't move. I told myself I'd stay behind the counter. But my legs had other plans. The moment I stepped inside, I felt it, that cold, electric air wrapping around me. My flashlight flickered, but I didn't care. The mirror was there, waiting. This time, the reflection was different. The warm glow was gone. Instead, the room behind my reflection looked identical to the gas station. The same shelves, the same counter, but the windows were black, like the world outside didn't exist. I should have turned around. I should have run. But the voice was closer than ever, so close it was like breath on my ear. "You've already been here before." I lifted my hand to touch the glass. My reflection didn't copy me, it smiled. And then, it stepped back, inviting me in. The moment my fingertips touched the mirror, the glass rippled like water. And before I could think, I was pulled through. When I opened my eyes, I was standing in the other gas station. The air was heavy and silent. The lights above me hummed softly, but there was no sound of cars outside, no distant highway, nothing. Then I saw them. Figures in the aisles. Standing perfectly still. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide, and I recognized them. They were the faces I'd seen in the mirror the first night. The trapped ones. One by one, they turned toward me. And they all said the same thing, in perfect unison. "Welcome home, Jenna." I ran. I don't even remember how I made it back to the real gas station. The next thing I knew, I was behind the counter again, shaking, with the clock still at midnight, like no time had passed. But I know it wasn't a dream. Because when I looked at my reflection in the front door's glass, it didn't look back. It just stood there, smiling. Something's wrong with me. I've been back in the real gas station for 2 nights now, but it doesn't feel real anymore. It started small. I'd catch my reflection in the cooler doors or the front window, nothing strange at first. But then I noticed it wasn't copying me exactly. Sometimes, when I'd turn away, it would linger. Staring. Smiling. Last night, while ringing up a customer, I glanced at the security monitor and froze. On the screen, my reflection in the convex mirror above the counter wasn't moving at all. It just stood there, watching, even though I was still scanning items. The customer didn't notice. Nobody ever notices. The worst part? My reflection has started doing things before I do them. I'll see it raise its hand, and a second later, I follow, without meaning to. Like I'm the copy now, not the original. I can feel it pushing, too. Every time I walk past the back door, there's this pull in my chest, the same feeling I had when I touched the mirror. Like something inside me wants to go back. 2 hours into my shift tonight, the whispers started again. But they weren't calling my name this time. They were laughing. I checked the security footage, just to prove I was imagining it. And that's when I saw it. On the camera that points toward the cooler aisle, there were 2 of me. One was behind the counter, where I was standing. The other was halfway down the aisle, facing the camera. Still. Smiling. When I blinked, it was gone. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I'm losing track of what's real. My hands don't always feel like they're mine. My thoughts aren't always my own. And every time I catch my reflection now, I swear, I can see its lips moving, whispering something I can't quite hear. But I know what it's saying. It's telling me to let it in. I don't remember leaving the counter. One moment I was standing there, staring at the humming soda fridge, and the next, I was in front of the back door. It was wide open. The hallway looked darker than ever, like it didn't lead to a room at all anymore, just a black space that swallowed the light from my flashlight. My reflection's voice came from inside, clear as day. It's time, Jenna. I told myself to run. I told myself to turn away. But my legs carried me forward like they weren't mine. My breath sounded strange, not panicked, not scared, almost relieved. And then, I saw it. Standing in the middle of the darkness was me. Not a reflection, not a shimmer in the mirror, a solid, breathing version of me. Her smile was wider now, teeth sharp at the corners, eyes a little too bright. She stepped closer, and the blackness behind her seemed to follow, curling around her like smoke. "You've been here before," she whispered. "You belong here." I backed away, but my foot caught on something, the edge of the mirror frame. I hadn't even noticed it leaning against the wall. It wasn't hanging anymore. It was lying flat on the floor, its surface still rippling like liquid. Before I could react, she lunged forward. Her hands were ice cold as they grabbed my face, and in an instant, I felt everything pull. My chest caved, my vision spun, and then I was looking up from the floor, staring at my own body. She was wearing my uniform, my face, my voice, and she turned toward me with that same smile. "I'll take it from here." She stepped over me, back into the light of the gas station. The door slammed shut, sealing me inside. I ran to it, pounded on it, screamed. But on the other side of the glass, I saw her, me, casually wiping down the counter, greeting a customer like nothing had happened. I don't know where I am now. It's not the gas station. It's not the hallway. It's empty. Endless. My hands keep touching the walls, but there's no texture. Just cold. And then I see it, a new mirror, floating in the dark. In it, she's living my life. Smiling, laughing, talking. But every now and then, she glances at the glass. Right at me. And she mouths the words I wish I couldn't read. Stay there. Forever.
My name's Alex. I started working at the gas go 2 weeks ago. It's not a bad job, quiet, mostly empty after 10 p.m., and the pay's, well, enough. But there's something strange about the girl I work with. Jenna. At first, I thought she was just quiet, the kind of person who keeps to herself. But I've noticed the way she stares at people. Not like she's bored or zoning out, more like she's studying them. Measuring. She barely blinks. Last night, I caught her in one of the cooler aisles. She was standing in front of the glass doors, but she wasn't grabbing anything. She was just looking at her reflection, and smiling. I thought maybe she didn't hear me walk up, but when I said her name, she didn't turn. Her reflection did. It's hard to explain, but the movement was off. Delayed, just by a split second. Enough to make my stomach twist. Later, when I went to restock the back, I found a door I hadn't seen before. It wasn't locked, but when I tried the handle, Jenna's voice came from right behind me. Don't go in there. I jumped. She was suddenly so close, I swear she hadn't made a sound walking up. Her eyes looked different in the dim light, darker, almost black. I mumbled something about just looking for the cleaning supplies, and she smiled. Some doors aren't for you, she said. When I asked what that meant, she just walked away, humming under her breath. I thought maybe I was overthinking things, until tonight. I checked the security monitors, just to see if the store was empty before going out to clean the pumps. And on the camera, I saw Jenna, standing in the middle of the back hallway. The thing is, there is no back hallway. Not in this building. Not in any floor plan I've seen. And she wasn't alone. There was someone else in the frame, pale, with wide, terrified eyes. They were pounding on something I couldn't see. And when they turned their head toward the camera, I swear, it looked exactly like Jenna. I couldn't stop thinking about what I saw on the monitor. 2 Jennas. One standing in a hallway that shouldn't exist, the other pounding on invisible glass like her life depended on it. When I got home that night, I couldn't sleep. My brain kept replaying it, the pale face, the wide eyes, the way she looked straight into the camera like she knew I was watching. The next evening, I came in early, telling Jenna I wanted to get a head start on cleaning. Really, I wanted access to the old security system. The monitors only keep a couple weeks of footage before they overwrite, but the manager once told me the back office computer has years stored on it. I scrolled through the hard drive, looking for anything strange. At first, it was just hours of quiet aisles and empty counters. Then, I found it. 2 months ago. Midnight. The footage showed Jenna behind the counter. She was restocking candy. Normal enough, until she froze mid-motion. Like someone had hit pause. Then, slowly, she turned her head toward the back door. The door opened on its own. No one was there. Jenna put the candy down, walked toward it, and disappeared into the dark hallway beyond. For 3 whole minutes, the frame was empty. Then, someone came back out. It looked like Jenna. Same uniform. Same hair. But her movements were different, smoother, slower. Like every step was too deliberate. I leaned closer to the screen. Something was dripping from her hands. It wasn't blood, at least, I don't think it was. It was black, and it seemed to vanish into the floor before it could spread. That's when I felt it. A presence behind me. I turned, and there she was, Jenna, standing in the office doorway. "You shouldn't be looking at that," she said, voice low and flat. I stammered something about checking the system for maintenance, but she didn't answer. She just smiled. The kind of smile that doesn't touch the eyes. As she walked away, she hummed the same soft tune she'd been humming the night she told me not to open the back door. And here's the thing, I recognized it. I'd heard it before. It was coming from the other Jenna, the one pounding on the glass in the footage.
We were no strangers to the paranormal. Ghosts, cold spots, disembodied whispers, even full-blown EVP recordings. We'd seen it all, cataloged it, and usually we'd debunked it. Rachel, our resident skeptic and tech wizard, always had a logical explanation. Kyle, the meticulous researcher, could trace every legend back to its mundane roots. Marcus, the quiet one, felt things others didn't, a sort of human divining rod for residual energy. And me, the one who always pushed for just one more hour. We thought we knew the full spectrum of the supernatural, or so we foolishly believed. When the rumors of Ivy Manor farmhouse reached us, it sounded like another overhyped urban legend, perfect for a quick weekend investigation and an easy tick on our debunked list. Abandoned for decades, choked by a relentless tangle of ivy, whispered to be cursed. "People go in and they just don't come out," the internet forum shrieked. It felt more like internet horror fiction than anything substantial, the kind of sensationalism we usually scoffed at. We took it as a challenge, a final frontier for our jaded senses. "Another old house, another creaky floorboard," Rachel had scoffed, adjusting her glasses as she scrolled through the online chatter. "Probably just some squatters or local kids trying to scare tourists." "Or a clever real estate agent trying to boost property values," Kyle had chimed in, already pulling up geological surveys of the area, searching for underground springs or magnetic anomalies. Marcus, however, was quiet. Too quiet. He just stared at the grainy photos of the decaying farmhouse on my laptop screen, a faint shiver tracing its way down his spine that none of us noticed at the time.
They were both close now. Too close. The pale Jenna's hands trembled, fingers gripping my sleeve. "Please. I've been trapped here for weeks. I'm cold. I just want to go home." The dark-eyed Jenna tilted her head, a slow, unnatural motion. "It's lying to you, Alex. You've seen what this place can do. Let it out, and you'll regret it. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. Every instinct told me to run, but the door I'd come through was gone. Just walls. Just darkness. Somewhere, deep in the black, I could hear the whispers again. Low, layered voices, overlapping until they didn't sound human at all. Choose. 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 I looked between them. One was terrified. One was calm. I reached out, my hand shaking, and grabbed the pale Jenna's arm. Let's get you out. The dark-eyed Jenna didn't stop me. She just smiled. Good choice. I pulled the pale one toward where the door had been, and suddenly it was there again, open, light from the gas station spilling in. We stepped through together. And I froze. The air was wrong. Heavy. Still. The store was empty. The windows were black. When I turned to look at the pale Jenna, her eyes were no longer wide and human. They were flat. Black. Smiling. You made the right choice, she said. But her voice wasn't Jenna's anymore. From the darkness behind the open door, I saw her, the real Jenna, screaming silently, pounding on invisible glass as the door slowly shut. And then she was gone. The humming of the refrigerators started again. The lights flickered. Outside, the night looked normal. But when I caught my reflection in the cooler door, it didn't look back. It just smiled. I don't remember leaving the gas station that night. One moment I was standing at the counter, my hands gripping the edge so tightly my knuckles hurt, and the next, I was home. At least, I think it was home. The furniture was all where it should be. My clothes were in the closet. But everything felt staged. Like someone had put my life back together from memory, but got some of the details wrong. The smell was the first thing I noticed. It wasn't bad, just faint. Sweet. Metallic. Like copper pennies left in the sun. It clung to the air, to my skin. When I looked in the mirror the next morning, my reflection stared back. Normal enough. But as I turned to grab my toothbrush, I caught it still watching me. I told myself I was tired. Stressed. I even tried laughing it off. But last night at work, I caught one of the regulars, a trucker named Dale, staring at me like he'd seen a ghost. "You all right, kid?" he asked. "Fine," I told him. "You sure?" He frowned. "Your eyes, they don't look right." I laughed it off again. But when I went to check in the cooler's glass door, I saw it. My pupils were darker than they should be. Not bigger. Darker. And then, tonight, it happened. A customer came in, a young woman who looked exhausted. She asked for coffee. I handed it to her without a word, and her hand brushed mine. Her face went pale instantly. She dropped the cup, hot liquid splashing everywhere. Your hand, she stammered, backing toward the door. What about it? I asked. It was cold, she whispered. Like dead. She ran out before I could say anything. Now I'm sitting here, staring at my hands under the harsh fluorescent lights. I can't feel the warmth anymore. Not from the coffee I just poured. Not from the heater in the break room. It's not just the gas station that's haunted. It's me.
Thank you for listening to Whispering in the Dark. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to Haunted Mansion Stories for more chilling tales from the shadows. Every listen, comment, and follow helps us keep the darkness alive, one